Story 1. Every male should know this. If you want to get rid of an awkward erection, flex any muscle in your body, such as an arm, for about a minute. The blood will rush to that muscle and away from your penis. Crisis averted. Story 2. If you stand up too fast and your head starts to spin, rush, or feel like it will black out, tighten your abdominal muscles as hard as you can. This will greatly reduce the head rush. You can also do this beforehand to help prevent it. Story 3. Splash some water on your face. As a mammal, you have a diving reflex, so this triggers a response. You wake up, more oxygen reaches your brain, and you feel better. Story 4. Turn your device off and then on before contacting technical support. Story 5. If you get food or grease stains on your clothes, apply dishwashing liquid to the stain. The stain will come out when you wash the garment. Story 6. If your ring gets stuck on your finger, Windex will slide it right off. I worked at a jewelry store for more than 5 years. Story 7. I saw a comment on one of these threads that recommended gently rocking back and forth while having a bowel movement. I had not had any problems in the bathroom, but I happened to be sitting on the toilet when I read the comment, so I decided to try it. I was pleasantly surprised at how quick and effortless the whole experience was, and I have not returned to my old stationary technique. As a bonus, urination and bowel movements now require the same amount of time in the bathroom. Story 8. Use whitening toothpaste and a small amount of water on a paper towel to clean stained dry erase boards. It easily removes ink and does not spread it around like rubbing alcohol. This method works on boards that have been stained for years. Story 9. If you have strong underarm odor and need to fix it quickly, use hand sanitizer. I learned years ago that the smell comes from bacterial activity. Antibacterial hand sanitizer kills the bacteria quickly, and any medicinal smell fades within a minute. Do not do this routinely, though, because the underarm skin is delicate. Story 10. Use shaving cream as an anti-fog agent. I used it on the inside of my motorcycle visor. Apply it, let it dry, then rinse and wipe dry. It also works for bathroom mirrors. Apply it to a small spot so you can still see when you get out of the shower. Story 11. You can perform the Heimlich maneuver on yourself. Use a chair or countertop. Place the edge under your rib cage, press your abdomen against it and push down hard. This should force air upward and dislodge the blockage. Story 12. If a dog attacks, offer your forearm into the bite to pry the jaws apart and prevent them from clamping down. Push your arm as far back as possible, then use your other hand to grab the dog by the scruff of the neck to hold and control its head. The sooner and harder you push, the less damage the bite will cause. Story 13. When it is icy or when you are walking through a wet area, keep both hands free to break a fall. When performing a job that has safety hazards, always be on the lookout. My coworker broke her wrist because someone forgot to place the pallet in the correct location. Sometimes people may be out to get you, or they may not be thinking about your safety, so always have your own back. Story 14. Ever have a split buttock crease? Some of us in cold climates know about it. Dry air, tight clothing, and multiple layers can cause a split in the skin at the tailbone. The cure is a warm water bath with baking soda. Rinse, pat dry without rubbing, then use a hair dryer. After that, apply a layer of Carmex. Healed overnight. Story 15. If a man is in an accident such as a car accident or a ladder fall and he gets an erection, do not move him. He may have a spinal injury. Story 16. Rub vegetable oil or any cooking oil on your hands after cutting jalapenos or other hot peppers. The oil helps remove the capsaicin residue that causes burning. Then wash your hands with dish soap. You should be able to remove your contact lenses afterward. It works very well. Story 17. Put an onion in the freezer for 10 minutes before chopping it. Freezing the onion chills its juices enough to slow the release of the compounds that become gas, giving you a few minutes to chop without tears. I learned this tip from a kids' science show years ago and have not had to deal with onion tears since. Many people do not believe me until they try it. Story 18. This website has almost all the books. As a broke student, it has helped me immensely. Story 19. Laughing out loud. 43,000 people are upvoting this thread so BuzzFeed can get content. Story 20. The cheapest, most effective, and safest insecticide against roaches, especially the large waterbug roaches found in the south, is a spray bottle of mostly water with just a little liquid dish soap in it. Shake the bottle until the water is a little foamy, then spray the roaches. They will run and scuttle to escape, but the soap film suffocates them faster than chemical insecticides. A friend told me about this and I thought she was nuts, but I tried it and it works amazingly well. It is very easy to clean up and safe around food, although you should not spray soapy water on your food. Story 21. From the book, The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBecker. A woman alone who needs assistance is actually far better off choosing someone and asking for help, rather than waiting for an unsolicited approach. The person you choose is far less likely to pose a danger than the person who chooses you. Story 22. If you get a splinter that is still partially sticking out of the skin, put a drop of Elmer's glue on it and let it dry. When you peel the dried glue off your skin, the splinter will stick to the glue and come off with it. Story 23. Clean jewelry with dish soap. Avoid hand soap and abrasive cleaners, which can scratch or chemically react with metals. Dish soap is designed to clean glass, ceramics, and silverware without scratching or reacting with metal. Story 24. If you are in college, do not buy your textbooks until you actually need to use them. I have saved hundreds of dollars by not buying required textbooks that I never used. Story 25. Run your wrists under cold water or rub an ice cube on your pulse points to cool down quickly when you get overheated. It seems obvious, but I didn't realize it until last summer while working in a warehouse with no air conditioning. Story 26. If you are having trouble staying awake in class or during a meeting, see how long you can keep one foot lifted slightly off the ground. Story 27. When replacing a paint can lid, first place a layer of cling film, also known as plastic wrap. This prevents the lid from sticking to the can after the paint on the lid has dried. Story 28. Nail polish remover removes permanent marker from skin. For example, if someone draws a penis on your face. Story 29. If you are going to climb a ladder or work on your roof, wear a bicycle helmet. Story 30. All of your kindling for the fire is wet, and you only have matches and snacks. Any corn chip will ignite into a ball of flame. Story 31. During pollen season, rinse your hair before bed. Otherwise, you are depositing pollen on your pillowcase every night and then sleeping on it. Multiply that by how many nights you use the same pillowcase. Story 32. If you feel suicidal or depressed, do not focus on hope. It is enough to stay curious. Curiosity can keep you alive far longer than hope ever will. Curiosity leads to engaging work, and that leads to opportunity. Story 33. Sleep on big decisions. You think most clearly in the morning, and often, after some time has passed, you realize you were about to make a big mistake. Story 34. If your butter is hard from the fridge and you want to bake, grate it like cheese. It will still require work if you are mixing by hand, but it is easier than trying to chop it. You can use a microwave, but it can cause the butter to separate. Story 35. Eating candied ginger can help with nausea. Any ginger can help, but candied ginger tastes better. Chronic nausea is different. If you suffer from it, seek medical help. Ginger is not a cure for all causes of nausea. For example, vertigo usually does not respond to ginger. I use ginger for migraine-related nausea, which I also experience. Story 36. Counting slowly up to 150 can be an effective way to fall asleep. If you have any thoughts while counting, let them play out. If you forget what number you are on, continue from the last number you remember. If you make any major movements, start again. The goal is to slow your brain down and avoid jerky motions or abrupt thoughts, reaching a level of carelessness that lets you fall asleep without realizing it. It has helped me several times, especially with rain sounds. I hope it helps you too. Story 37. Write a list and cross items off when you accomplish the tiniest thing. It builds momentum. Story 38. Mosquito bites. Be gone. This hack is one of the most valuable things I've learned. Heat the back of a spoon in hot water, then apply it to the bite. I usually repeat it twice. The spoon should be hot enough to stay on the skin without burning, so test the heat before pressing it down. Keep it on until the heat dissipates. The bite will stop itching almost immediately and will usually have completely disappeared within an hour. From my experience, this only works for mosquito bites. Story 39. 25% of 18 is the same as 18% of 25. Percentages are reversible, and one is easier to calculate than the other. Story 40. Crayons are flammable and will provide about an hour of light as a candle if you light the top. Story 41. If your car is overheating, turn the heat on full blast. When you turn the heat on in a car, it pulls heat from the engine into the cabin, thus cooling the engine. I was taught this in driver's education 23 years ago. In high school, my friend's car ran very hot. I told him to turn the heat on. He refused, so I promised to pay for any resulting damage if the temperature did not go down. It was winter, and the heater was so hot we had to roll down the windows, but his engine temperature dropped. I do not think this is especially uncommon, but if nobody ever told you, it can seem counterintuitive. Note: I went to sleep after posting and told my wife I had a comment with about 400 likes. When I woke up, my 6-year lifetime karma had doubled. I hope this helps someone who did not already know. A few things in response to common comments. This does not work on electric cars. Depending on the mechanical issue, it may not work at all. It has worked for many people with evidence in the discussion. People younger than me may have learned this from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. People in my generation may have learned it from Hank Hill. If I could have 1/1,000,000th of his influence, I would take it. If you want a better technical explanation than "it pulls heat off the engine," ask your mechanic or look for detailed explanations in the discussion. This is not a permanent fix. It is a way to get you somewhere safe so you can address the issue. If you cannot afford repairs and use this long term, you are taking a risk. Know when to hold them and know when to fold them. If you read all these comments, I hope you have a great day. Story 42. If you have written on a dry erase board or any glossy surface with a permanent marker like a Sharpie, draw over it with a dry erase marker and it will wipe right off. Story 43. Makeup remover on deodorant stains. Vixella randomly mentioned this while chatting on Twitch. My husband has many t-shirts with white, stained armpits, so I tried makeup remover wipes. It worked. I used a generic store-brand pack of cleansing towelettes on his old t-shirt stained by antiperspirant from his bachelor days. He switched to a non-staining deodorant some time ago. There are many other helpful hacks in the replies. I will try denim or dryer sheets the next time I find a stain. Story 44. Ignite a strand of dry spaghetti to light large candles instead of using paper. Story 45. If you start to cough while eating or drinking and it feels like it went down the wrong pipe, immediately lift both arms straight up and hold them overhead for a few seconds. This opens your airways and helps you catch your breath. It also helps food or drink travel downward. My mother-in-law taught us this, and it is now second nature. The Heimlich maneuver should be used if someone is choking and cannot breathe. Story 46. If you've got a splinter beneath the skin, wrap a banana peel around it with the wet side against your skin. It will draw the splinter out most of the time. I don't know how, but it really works. Banana voodoo. Edit. Spelling corrected. Not sure how that slipped by me. Get it? Oh my good lord, these comments laughing out loud. And now silver awards? What on earth, people? Story 47. I hesitantly suggest squeegeeing yourself off before getting out of the shower. It is so simple. Quickly use your hands to wipe off excess water, and you will not feel cold when you get out. Story 48. If you have the right of way, take it. It makes driving more predictable and therefore causes fewer accidents. Story 49. Yell at the vacuum cleaner to get your dogs to stop barking. Story 50. Use a pop socket to hang jewelry on a flat wall or bed frame. I use it to hang my necklace every night. It is right next to where I sleep, so if I forget to take it off, I do not have to get up. It has not tangled once since I started using it, saving the hassle of untangling a tiny chain. You can get cool-looking designs to match your decor. Depending on the quality, they can last for years. Mine fell off my phone case, so I stuck it to my bed frame over a year ago. I have removed it once. It is still in place and still does its job. Story 51. Being extra nice to strangers when you need help can take you much further than you expect, especially in customer service. Story 52. If you have a dishwasher, you are probably familiar with the mild annoyance of pools of water left on dishes. When the cycle finishes, grab a clean towel and hang it flat on the inside of the dishwasher door. Close the door gently. Do not slam it. It is okay if the door is left slightly open. Wait about 30 minutes and your dishes will be dry. For best results, do this as close to the end of the cycle as possible while the interior is still warm. Story 53. More life advice than a life hack. A dropped knife does not have a handle. If you ever drop a kitchen knife or other bladed instrument, let it fall. Attempting to catch it will almost certainly cause a painful cut to your hand. Story 54. Always carry $20 with you, no matter where you go. Many times I have gone to get gas and found that my debit or credit card was declined. It is truly a lifesaver. Story 55. Use a wet knife to chop onions. It reduces tears if you have sensitive eyes. It really works. I could barely make it through chopping half an onion without needing multiple breaks before I tried this. I saw the tip online. Keep the faucet running and dip your knife under the water periodically while chopping. I still get a little reaction, but nowhere near as bad as before. Story 56. Keep a small squeegee in the shower if you have glass walls or a glass door. Squeegee before you get out after showering to prevent soap and water stains. Story 57. Learn how to fall, where to land, and how to dissipate energy. Can really save you in an uncertain situation. Story 58. If your coffee tastes too bitter, stir in a small pinch of salt. Story 59. Smell is closely associated with memory. If you are studying for an exam, buy an oddly scented eraser, for example one that smells of pickles. Every time you try to memorize something, take a sniff. Take that eraser to the test and sniff it when you have trouble remembering an answer. Story 60. When you are on your phone and you make a mistake in a word, instead of tapping the word, hold the spacebar and drag to move the cursor. Story 61. If you accidentally set off your smoke alarm, give your pets a treat. This helps them learn to come to you in a real fire so you can escape. Story 62. When using the on-ramp to a freeway or interstate where the posted speed limit is 65 miles per hour, reach that speed before merging into traffic. Drivers who merge slowly force following vehicles to slow down or change lanes, which increases the risk of accidents and traffic congestion. Story 63. Trouble swallowing pills? Squeeze your left thumb into your fist while you swallow. I do not know why, but it suppresses the gag reflex. Story 64. This may be late, but I want to offer an alternative to the common, this one-trick advice. If you forget someone's name after being introduced, after you have spent some time talking, and perhaps after you have connected a bit, do not say, "What's your name?" No, your last name. Do say, "I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Can you tell me again?" Nobody asks you for someone's name expecting you to give their last name, unless you are in organized sports or in jail. If you are sincere, a quick apology and a request to repeat the name is perfectly acceptable. We all forget names sometimes. Some of us do so as often and as predictably as a Tuesday morning. It is okay to ask again. Story 65. Drink a cup of water with your alcoholic beverage so you wake up alive. Story 66. I learned this from someone else, but apparently you can stop an erection by tightly clenching your legs, which stops blood flow to the pelvis. Story 67. If you eat something very spicy, apply petroleum jelly to your anus before a bowel movement. It may help reduce the burning sensation. Story 68. The best time to schedule any meeting, appointment, or interview is 11 in the morning. Remember this well. Story 69. A blank PowerPoint presentation in reading mode will prevent the computer from locking automatically. Story 70. When you are moving and must disassemble furniture, wrap the screws and other hardware with tape and attach the bundle to the furniture. Story 71. If you take a pill and feel it stuck in your throat afterward, hold a sip of water in your mouth, lie flat on your back, and then swallow it. The sensation disappears immediately. Story 72. Learn to distance yourself from your thoughts. Realize that at any given moment you can become aware of what you are thinking. Just ask yourself internally, what am I thinking about right now? By doing so, you see that you are not your thoughts. You are aware of your thoughts. Therefore, you are not your mind, the thing doing the thinking. You are the thing that is aware of your mind. In other words, you are aware of your thinking. You are not defined by it. This awareness can help with body image issues, insecurities, and anxiety. It is the essence of meditation. A common expression says that meditation is not what you think. It is not about the content of your thoughts. It is about being aware that you are thinking. Many people say I think, but they do not say I beat my heart. They say my heart beats. The heart beats whether or not we want it to. Thinking is similar. It goes on whether or not we want it to. Become aware of that. You are not defined by your thoughts. Story 73. When you are trying to learn something new, try using mnemonics. They have changed my life. The idea is to make up a silly story or image to go along with the things you want to remember. I am learning Japanese. Some of my word stories are straightforward and easy to make up, and others are more abstract. Your brain tends to remember stories more easily than random information. Instead of reading the same material over and over, you give your brain some context to draw from. It takes maybe 5 read-throughs instead of 20 or more for me to fully retain information now that I know this method. Examples: nurse. When I am sick, I remember kengoshi, which I think of as kengoshi. It means nurse. Hair. I picture a wild, unruly child with matted hair running around. I yell kami, over here, so I can brush your hair. Kami means hair. Usually, my skates were really tight, which I remember as tight. But sometimes the laces would come undone in the middle of a jump. Make up characters and scenarios. It is more work up front, but I spend way less time studying now and actually retain the information. Story 74. Lock your car door with one hand while you touch your keys with the other. Once you develop the habit, you will avoid lockouts. Story 75. Clean up microparticles of glass with Wonder Bread. It picks up the small pieces better than you would believe. Story 76. For women who love sundresses but dislike tights, apply underarm deodorant to the inner thighs to prevent chafing. Story 77. Picking a door latch with a credit card. I locked myself out of my office and had to choose between crawling through the ceiling and cutting a hole in the drywall or damaging the door. I did not have time to call a locksmith, and my car keys were inside the office. I watched a YouTube video on how to pick a door latch and successfully did it after a few tries. It saved me a lot of time and trouble. Story 78. Use Noxzema cream to treat sunburns. As soon as you realize you are burned, rinse the area with cool water, pat dry, and apply a thick layer of Noxzema. Do not wash it off. Leave it in place. Once the cream has dried, you can rinse it off and reapply if desired. It works surprisingly well. Story 79. I am a nurse on a trauma unit and have seen people's lives change because they were not wearing seatbelts in accidents. Please wear your seatbelt. Story 80. This may be really esoteric, but when I moved out on my own, I took the modem and the internet service with me, but the account remained under my mother's name. I thought it would be fine, but last year they raised the bill from $70 to over $100. So I canceled the account, opened one in my name with the same internet service provider, and received a shiny new customer package with the exact same internet speed for $50. I felt so big-brained when it worked. Story 81. Order a bowl at Chipotle with the tortilla on the side. You get a larger serving size, and when you get home, put it together. Story 82. Burned chili taste can be fixed with peanut butter. Just do it. Story 83. Here is one I saw recently. If you are painting using painter's tape, for example when doing corners or stripes, first paint along the edges with the color that is under the tape. Let it dry a little so it will not mix, then paint with your top color. This prevents the bleed effect because the bleed will be the same color as the wall and the tape will be sealed. For example, if you are putting a red stripe on a gray wall, put your 2 strips of tape down, then paint the inner edges with gray, then paint with red. When you remove the tape, any bleed will be gray on gray and your red stripe will be crisp. Story 84. If your hands smell like garlic, rub them on a metal surface such as your sink. The odor will disappear. Story 85. I'm not sure if this is common knowledge, but if you are watching YouTube on your phone, scroll to the end and restart the video to skip all advertisements. This does not work with playlists. For those of you who did not know, you are welcome. Story 86. Pay yourself first. No matter how much or how little you make, take 10% of your paycheck and put it in an emergency fund before you buy or pay for anything else. That strategy has saved me on numerous occasions. Story 87. To get rid of fried oil smells in the kitchen and house, take 1 cup of water and 1 tablespoon of vinegar, add rosemary, vanilla extract, a cinnamon stick, and a bay leaf, and bring to a boil. The grease odor will dissipate and the house will smell pleasant. This works well after buffalo wing night. Story 88. If you are a man, pulling the hair of another man or kicking him in the groin in a street fight is allowed. There are no rules in a fight if the difference between winning and losing is a concussion or death. Story 89. Microwave tip. Place a cup of water on the tray with whatever you are microwaving. It makes food taste fresher. Story 90. Positive thinking and self-talk can make a significant difference, even if you have to practice and do not feel it at first. Story 91. You probably do not have cable, but your parents might. Cable subscriptions usually include access to apps for individual channels. To access those channels, click the Login with My Subscriber button. A website and a code will appear. Text the website to your parents while they are at home and connected to the home wireless network, and tell them to enter the code in the box that appears. Your device should remain logged in so you can watch shows on that channel. This works for many channels. We use it to watch football and my children watch shows on Nick Jr. I still use subscription services more, but this avoids adding extra subscriptions to watch specific programs. Story 92. Make a fist with your thumb inside, exactly as you are not supposed to. Squeeze your thumb while doing something that can induce the gag reflex. I learned this from a woman who used the trick for sexual purposes, but I use it mostly when brushing my wisdom teeth. Story 93. There is nothing wrong with showing up to work, doing the minimum required to keep a job, then going home and enjoying your life. It is a major lifesaver for mental health. Story 94. If you cannot open a jar with a screw-off lid, tap the top edge of the lid with the back of a spoon. Tap all the way around the lid, then try to open it. It will open very easily. You will not need to find someone to open the jar or hurt your hands trying to remove the lid. Story 95. Use vinegar to wash anything that smells. Gym shoes and clothes left in a plastic bag. Regular detergent and whatnot usually leave a bit of odor. Add half a cup of white vinegar to the wash and the smell will be gone. For skunk odor, hydrogen peroxide and baking soda work better if the fabric can tolerate them without bleaching. Story 96. When you're in a public freakout, instead of simply recording it with your phone, record it in slow motion mode. It will capture more information and produce less blur when trying to identify people and license plates. Story 97. Water displacement 40th formula removes sticker residue. I tried soap, olive oil, and rubbing alcohol with varying degrees of success, but it is far more effective. Story 98. Keep the instructions for any IKEA furniture you buy. They are also available online. If you have to move, you can disassemble the furniture and save a lot on moving expenses because it requires less space. Many college textbooks have free portable document format versions or are much cheaper as digital books. It is also worth partnering with upperclassmen to buy or borrow their old books. Story 99. Do not buy a new plastic shower curtain. Put the dirty one in the washing machine alone with some detergent, and it will look like new. Story 100. To make a hard-boiled egg for someone with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Bring water to a boil, add the eggs, turn off the heat, and cover the pot. Come back when you remember to peel the egg, crack it, and then roll it gently between both hands until the shell loosens and comes off. There are many ways to cook an egg. Thanks for all the tips, everyone. Story 101. Getting 8 hours in bed, not necessarily sleeping, is mental magic. Story 102. When you have hiccups, Tilt your head to the side and keep it that way. Hold your breath and take 8 small gulps of water. The hiccups will stop. My friend's father, a neurosurgeon, taught me this. I thought he was making it up. He said it relaxed the diaphragm. It works. Story 103. If you are in a place where you do not speak the language, learn the words for please and thank you. Those words and a smile will take you far. Story 104. Clean as you go. It is not that hard, and things end up much less messy. Story 105. Permanent marker on a countertop? Use hairspray. It lifts right up. I accidentally printed a penis on my friend's countertop while house-sitting. This hack saved my life, laughing out loud. Story 106. Get a lawyer. Even if you did, your words can be used and twisted. You may still go to jail, but a lawyer can reduce a 5 to 10-year sentence to 3 to 5 years. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.